U.S. Justice Department is now relaxing its enforcement of federal marijuana laws in Washington and Colorado. Federal prosecutors will not sue those two states to stop the legal recreational use of marijuana. As you probably remember, voters in both states approved legalizing pot back in November. In a national policy announcement yesterday, the Justice Department said it will not press charges if the states follow 8 rules. They include not distributing pot to kids, preventing revenue from going to gangs and drug cartels, and preventing trafficking across state lines. Well, recreational use of marijuana is still illegal here in New Mexico. However, some legislators are worried that the state is headed down the same path as Colorado and Washington. Reforming the state's pot laws was a hot topic in the Roundhouse earlier this year, and it may come up again next year. In fact, there's a very good chance it could. The move made by the Justice Department proved that either way, the topic of legalizing pot is not going to go away anytime soon. Republican State Senator John Ryan says legalizing marijuana, even decriminalizing it, is not smart.
The concern is that on the one hand, we've got lots of substance abuse issues in our state.
Now, Democratic Representative Emily Kane, remember, she introduced a bill that would ease penalties for those caught with small amounts of marijuana. Now, that passed in the House, but it died in the Senate. Ms. Kane argues the whole issue of reforming the state's marijuana laws just makes financial sense.
The amount of money and the amount of time that the courts are investing in prosecuting people whose only serious crime was possessing marijuana seemed a little bit disproportionate to the damage and to the problem.
Governor Martinez has said she would veto any bill that decriminalizes recreational marijuana use. That would mean it would take a constitutional amendment to get it on a statewide ballot and have you vote for it, just like what happened in Colorado and Washington. Well, New Mexico's 33 county clerks are now asking the state Supreme Court to clarify marriage laws. The group expects to file an appeal next week. This would be an appeal of the judge's order that the Bernalillo County clerks start issuing same-sex marriage licenses. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean the clerks are against the judge's ruling and same-sex marriage, but that they simply want a clear decision on what the law is for everyone all across the state. Meanwhile, Los Alamos could very well be the 7th county to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples after a judge there ordered county clerks to start doing so. Well, Farmington State Senator Bill Scherrer is leading the charge to stop county clerks from issuing marriage licenses to gay couples, but now he is under attack for the way he is defending traditional marriage. He writes on his state Senate website that marriage is about creating and raising the next generation, a mother, a father, and children structure. He also cites how Alexander the Great handled homosexuality, writing that while Alexander was a well-known homosexual, he ordered his men to stop, quote, whoring around, his words not mine, and find local women to marry. Now, Senator Scherrer did not return our calls to comment about this, but on his website, he says he has received hate mail from all around the country. He is among more than 24 Republican legislators in the state looking to stop gay marriage here. And the call to ban abortion in Albuquerque has also picked up more steam this week, fueling hopes for some and fear for others. The city clerk's office verified there are enough ballot signatures on a petition to put the ban to a public vote, but certification on this came too late to get it on the ballot for October. So a special election, which could very well happen, would cost $600,000. That could be avoided if Albuquerque City Council, a body of publicly elected officials, decides this hot-button issue, which that is actually highly unlikely because councilors say that should be decided directly by a public vote. All right, lighting things up now at 5:35. We are all getting ready for a long holiday weekend. For some, that means one last summer trip down to the Butte. We're talking Elephant Butte Lake, and everybody is hoping that it has more water now than it did earlier this summer when it was at an all-time low. So we sent News 13's Samantha McDonald to go check it out. What'd you find, Sam?
Well, Matt, during the 4th of July holiday, the lake level at Elephant Butte was the lowest it's been since the 70s. But thanks to the monsoons, officials say this holiday weekend will be something else.
Got a lot of monsoons, and that's kind of settled the beach sand, so it's easier to get into the lake. And, of course, the lake has been cleaned up, and with the water rising, the beaches are actually pristine, clean, and easier access. So it's really a great time to come to the lake.
You heard right. The water has been rising there. So much so, Hetchler tells us it has risen about 7 feet because of the monsoons. The rise not only comes from the rains, but also because irrigation season is over. Hatchler says as far as the Labor Day holiday goes, it's hard to tell if a big crowd will turn out because many may remember the low water levels from the 4th of July. This is video from July, and you can see just how low the water level was between the boat launch ramp and the water. Hatchler says he hopes the memory of that won't dissuade people from heading to the lake this holiday weekend.
What's happened since then is, like I said, the lake has actually recovered. The beaches are really nice looking right now. There's easy access to the lake. And, if people stay home now, then, it's too bad for them because this would really be a good opportunity for them to come to the lake and enjoy it.
Hatchler predicts there will be plenty of room to enjoy the lake. Typically, they expect about 40,000 to 60,000 people on Labor Day weekend, but that could be down this year after the 4th of July experience. Matt, back to you.
All right, thank you for the good news this morning, Samantha. 7 feet, that is awesome. Now, although the lake has risen, again, 7 feet, still a long, long way from normal. We check with our meteorologists here. They say between July and August, the area has gotten about 4.5 inches of rain. All right, 5:37 now. Albuquerque cops now looking for a woman they say was driving the getaway car while her husband was trying to break into a home. This happened yesterday in a neighborhood here near 98th and Unser. A guy was inside sleeping when he heard someone coming into his home. He went into the bathroom, he called 911. Then he says he ended up in a confrontation with the man and shot him. Now after that, the guy with the gun who lives in the home went outside, found a woman sitting in a pickup, backed into his driveway. And he told police when he confronted her, she said, "You shot my husband." And then she took off. The man who was shot is in critical condition. He is expected to survive. Well, most police agencies here in New Mexico use dash cameras either in addition to or instead of lapel cams, but the state's largest police department says no thanks. Albuquerque police officers do not have dash-mounted cameras in their patrol cars. Instead, officers are issued lapel cameras. We've showed you that video time and time again. The department says the lapels go with the officer and are cheaper than the dash cams, but many attorneys say these lapel cameras are often unreliable and could hurt court cases.
And as their body turns or they orient their body in a different position, they very often fail to capture significant portions of the actual contact.
There is much more to this story. You should watch it. You can log on anytime to KRQE.com or check it out tonight at 9 o'clock on 2 Casa Fox.